Welcome back to another episode of Tribe Talk. As always, I have Coach Jim McKay sitting down with me to talk about football this past week. Coach, we had a great win over Alcorn Central, a bounce back win. I think it created a lot of motivation in the team, especially going into what's going to be the toughest week on the schedule for us, I believe.
Yeah, you're right. Was a good win. Kids played well. And like you said, preparing for Corinth is pretty tough. They're a really good football team.
I was at the coaches meeting this past week, and I got to watch you guys break down Corinth's film and start to develop a game plan. What is the game plan for tackling such a tough opponent?
It's going to be tough. Defensively, they're faster than us, so we have got to fit where we need to fit. We've got to wrap up, make tackles, and just limit their big plays. Offensively, we need to work the clock, try to shorten the game down, and just go right at them, get what we can get. Almost a 3-yard cloud of dust kind of thing.
Last year, we come out to a great first half against Corinth. I believe no one truly expected it. Is this game plan similar to what it was last year, or have you had to make some adjustments to that?
We made some adjustments, but it's pretty close to what we did last year.
All right, going back to Alcorn Central, what do you think motivated the team to put up such a great effort? I know all week it was kind of iffy on, do we have what it takes to compete against Central? And obviously we came out and shown that no, there's still no true competition there, that we are the better team. How did your game plan, how well was it executed last week?
It almost, I don't want to say perfect, but yeah, we did a really good job, especially defensively. A few times we let the back out of the backfield when we weren't supposed to, but they kind of played into our hands, trying to run the ball. We do a pretty good job of stopping the run. Offensively, Gavin had a really good night. He got loose many times, and hopefully this Friday will be the same.
How has practice been this week? I know last week we had great practices. Do you do anything different this week compared to playing against Central to playing against Corinth?
No, we try to keep it on the same level every week, pretty much do the same thing, keep them in a routine. Not as focused, I feel like, through 2 days this week, but, Monday they were pretty focused. It was a lot of learning. We did a lot of film watching, so hopefully that'll carry over.
All right, thank you, Coach, for sitting down with me again. We wish the team the best this week. Up next, I'll have Coach Bradley Strom to talk about the band season so far. Now with me, I have the band director, Bradley Strom, who's going to explain what the band's been going through this year. How's it going, Coach?
It's going very well. We just got done with our first competition. We received ones and all captions except for color guard, and we're going to push through to the rest of the season. We got about 3 to 4 more competitions left, and we're just having a good year so far.
You just mentioned it. You had a competition this past weekend in Russellville, Alabama. Tell us how the band did, how they performed, and the competition process, because I feel a lot of our viewers don't really understand what goes into that. Can you please explain that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. On Saturday we went to Russellville, Alabama, the Northwest Alabama Marching Classic, and we performed against bands similar in our size, and in that competition we finished second in our class, the 5th best band overall out of 23 bands. Our drum major, Grace Presley, got 3rd out of all the 23 bands. Our percussion got 4th out of 23 bands. And the way it works is we're on a grading scale from 1 to 100, 80 and above being a 1, and then so on and so forth. So it goes from 1 being superior rating, a 2 being a good rating, a 3 being an okay rating, and a 4 is, you need to work a little harder. So that means everything in our competition this past weekend received 1s except for the color guard, and they came really close to getting a 1. It's just some things we have to work on. The greatest things about these competitions that lead up to our regional is that they help us learn and understand things that we could do better, and understand things that that we also did good. They give a lot of really good feedback for the kids, and we listen to the tapes together, try to understand and better understand what the judges are actually looking for the season. A lot of these judges are mainly retired band directors that have all gone through the process before. And so when we listen to the tapes, they'll tell about where they're from and what their experience is. And it really gets the kids more comfortable when they listen to the tapes because they understand that these band directors went through the same thing that they're going through right now, and that they are also seeing how we work and how they compare it to what they did when they were a band director at the time. And then so it better helps us to understand because they talk to us like a standpoint of a musician and a performer would talk to us.
All right. This year your theme is the Wild West. Elaborate on what that is, what your routine is, and why you chose that theme.
Absolutely. So our show this year is called The Way Out West. It's a little twist on a Western theme. Some classic spaghetti westerns. I kind of got the idea. I saw some other groups doing some neat Western shows, but the main influence on me was my father-in-law, which unfortunately passed away this summer. He was a huge fan of Westerns, and we'd always just kind of sit back and watch some every time I go visit him. And he kind of gave me the inspiration to maybe do a Western this season in the springtime. And we started talking to the directors, and directors were really on board, and we came up with a lot of really great ideas. The show kind of evolves. It starts out with a conception of, like, what do we want it to be? Okay, well, we want it to be a Western-themed show. And originally it was going to be kind of like a dream of a Western. Now it's kind of turned into more of a standard love story. Also, just playing some really good music, really good classical Western-style music. From some of these really good classic movies like Good, Bad, and Ugly and The Magnificent Seven, and also some others that we kind of haven't got to yet. But so yeah, that's where we're at right here.
All right. Is your show completely ready as it is, or are you still making improvements to it? And if you are, when people come out and see you, will perform every Friday night, usually at most games. And I've noticed each week there's something different. It adds a little more. So for me to watch, it's entertaining because I saw week one where it was just a song at TCPS, and then the next week it was there was a little more, and each week it keeps building. So when will you have the show completely ready, or is it always changing?
Well, thankfully to the judges' tapes, the show always continues to evolve. We may end up doing something, and then we go to a contest, and the judges are like, well, maybe this doesn't work out. You also try this. Well, then we'll try it, and with maybe a different set of judges, and if it works, we'll keep it. But the show is ever evolving. So, and the reason is because we want to continue to get better and continue to grow as musicians and performers. Even 10, 15 years ago, our art form was more of a military style, where we still try to keep those military disciplines, but we also the sport has kind of evolved into almost musical theater on the field. So it's an ever-changing thing. We're going to continue to add stuff. We actually have a closer that we haven't had put on the field yet. So we're going to continue to grow and put that on there before Tupelo. And then until our last competition, we'll keep adding things to make the show better. We get graded upon music, marching, and general effect, where music and marching is usually both those around 40 points apiece, and then the general effect ends up being around 20 points. Out of the 100 points in most competitions. So we continue to make the songs and the show better each week, while we're relearning other things, or we're just kind of clean stuff right now. So the goal for this week for Northeast is probably going to be the hardest judging competition we go to this year, because they always judge really hard to get you ready for your regional at Tupelo, which is the second week in October. So we'll go there. We'll get some really tough judging, but it makes it better for the band because it makes us fix the things that we really need to fix so we can qualify for state championships and at the Tupelo comp.
Thank you, Coach. Stay tuned for next week. We'll bring you another episode, and we're going to start looking into the winter sports as they get prepared to start their seasons in early November.